We're going to call this meeting of the TRPA Legal Committee to order. The date is Wednesday, April 24th, 2024. And the time is, who has a watch?
8:32.
8:32, thank you. First item on the agenda is the roll call to determine a quorum. Catherine?
Ms. Fastinos?
Present.
Mr. Rice? Ms. Williamson? Ms. Loomer? Here. Ms. Aldine?
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. For the members of the public who are joining us remotely to observe the meeting, go to trpa.gov under the calendar heading, click on Governing Board Hybrid Meeting for April 24th, 2024. There you will find a link to the public meeting posted on Zoom. To address committee members directly with your comments, raise your hand in Zoom by clicking Raise Hand at the bottom of your screen at the appropriate agenda item. With your hand raised, you will be unmuted by TRPA staff and have 3 minutes to address the committee. If you have used the dial-in numbers to join us by telephone, you can dial *9 to raise your hand and be unmuted. For items that are agendized as informational only, we will hear public comment during the general public comment period at the end of the meeting. Comments on items agendized for action or possible action, we will hear public comment before the meeting takes any action. To remote committee members, if you wish to speak, please also raise your hand in Zoom. You will find the hand icon on the bottom of your screen. Remote committee members may not use the chat box, as everyone realizes, to have sidebar conversations. Finally, I would like everyone who is joining us remotely to turn their cameras if they are able. And I see a lot of smiling faces there this morning. Good morning, everyone. Members of the public who have joined us in person, and there are none, so we will dispense with that paragraph. Committee members who are in person, again, please raise your hand if you wish to speak. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. John, any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Okay, thank you. Then we will deem the agenda approved as posted. Approval of minutes. We are now on agenda item number 2. We have a draft set of minutes from the March 27th, 2024 meeting on page 13 of your packet. Does any member wish to make any changes? Belinda, any changes
No.
to the?
None.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion.
So moved.
Okay, we have 2 motions. Great, thank you so much. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we'll deem the minutes approved then. We are now on agenda item number 3, which is a resolution of enforcement action. Jonathan Gallegos and Kingdom Tree Services unauthorized tree removal at 2675 Elwood Avenue in South Lake Tahoe, California. Assessor parcel number APN 031-132-013, TRPA file number CODE 2024-0004. Information on this item can be found on page 101 of your packet. As a reminder to the public, after board discussion on this item, you may raise your hand in person to be called on or in Zoom to be unmuted by TRPA staff to share your comments. Steve?
Thank you. Steve Sweet, Co-Compliance Program Manager. Again, this is resolution of enforcement action with Jonathan Gallegos and Kingdom Tree Service. The violation involves unauthorized tree removal of 4 trees larger than 14 inches DBH, and they occurred on the RJ Realty property at 2675 Elwood Avenue, South Lake Tahoe. Can you go to the next slide, please? This is an overview of where the property is. In the Sierra tract of South Lake Tahoe. And next slide, please. Close-up version. You can see the areas where the trees were removed. It's a little hard to tell exactly where the building is in that picture. But a short description of the violation: in February 2024, TRP staff inspected a complaint of unauthorized tree cutting on the RJ Realty property, which is a site of an uninhabited single-family dwelling and / old church. It was an old church at one time. During this inspection, TRPA staff discovered that 4 trees larger than 14 inches DBH had been removed without approval. And then after further investigations and discussions with Mr. Gallegos, the RJ Realty representative, TRP staff determined that the 4 trees between sizes of 19 to 28 inches in DBH were removed without any authorization from TRPA or the city of South Lake Tahoe. and the trees were removed by Kingdom Tree Service, a Sacramento-based tree removal company that was hired by Gallegos. Here's a picture of where the trees were in that area of the property next to, you know, some of them were kind of right up in the building and next to the building. And but Gallegos explained to us that the trees were removed because they were causing safety concerns to the structure. However, staff determined that these trees were not an immediate threat and that the activity should have been reviewed prior to removal. The removal of these trees, go ahead and go to the next slide, occurred in violation of TRPA Code Section 61.1.5, which requires a permit for cutting any trees over 14 inches. And both Gallegos and Kingdom Tree Service have accepted the responsibility for the unauthorized activities, and they have agreed to a settlement. Go ahead and go to the next slide, where they'll pay a penalty of $20,000 to TRPA, and they're going to attend the next tree removal seminar. Staff believes the settlement represents an appropriate response to the violation and will help deter future violations of this kind. And we are recommending that the governing board approve the proposed settlement agreement.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Any questions by members of the committee? Seems relatively straightforward. And you said that a representative for Mr. Gallegos is not attending the meeting.
He is not
virtually.
attending,
Okay,
yes.
okay. All right,
Geraldine, I did have a question.
sure, go ahead.
Okay, just real quickly, Mr. Sweet. Why in this case are we not recommending replacement of the trees that were removed?
This is, you know, going back with the, you know, discussing this with the forester. This is a kind of a denser neighborhood of trees. So while we may not have permitted some of them or this wasn't an area right now where we would require new trees to be planted. There is going to be a project coming in here in the future, so not exactly sure what's going to be built on the property also. So planting trees at this time would just not, and the forester just did not feel that that was needed in this situation.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure I asked the question. Thank you.
Along those lines, though, would we have the ability, for example, I was assuming this was going to be a redevelopment project of some sort because it's an old church, it's not being used as a residence, of requiring that the owner of the property, when they do redevelop, you know, kind of free forest the lot.
Again, I think the forester at this time did not feel that replanting the trees in this particular neighborhood or this part of the neighborhood.
Okay, so it wasn't site specific, but it was just in the neighborhood in general because it's pretty heavily forested.
They're denser, you know,
Okay.
more times when we're replanting trees or, you know, bigger open spaces or view enhancement, things like that.
Okay,
Sometimes, you know, in these situations, it doesn't happen all the time, but they're in areas where we wouldn't, you know, might not have necessarily permitted those exact trees, but
okay.
it's just not necessary for the health, you know, that to improve the health of
I couldn't
that
tell, were
area.
they evergreens or deciduous trees?
They were pines, Jeffrey
They were
pines.
pines, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, if Alex, you have anything to add, okay, then we'll go to public comment on this item now. If any member of the public wishes to address the governing the committee on this agenda item, please raise your hand now, either in person or by clicking the hand raise button at the bottom of your Zoom screen or by dialing *9 on your phone, and you will be called on and unmuted by a TRPA staff member. Catherine, anyone wishing to comment on this item?
Madam Chair, there are no hands raised to comment.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll go ahead and close public comment and entertain a motion to approve the settlement as proposed. Okay, is that a motion?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes, okay. Okay, all right, we have a motion. Catherine, will you please take the roll?
Ms. Bastidas,
Yes.
Ms. Williamson, Mr. Rice, Ms. Lemur? Yes. Ms. Alvin?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the motion passes.
Right, thank you. All right, that brings us to agenda item number 4, which is a resolution of enforcement action. Nader and Bridget, I'm going to mispronounce his name, Pani Azidi,
I believe it's Nadir Panah.
Pana Azidi, right?
You
Okay.
can correct us if we're.
Unauthorized tree removal, failure to implement and maintain temporary BMPs resulting in direct discharge to the waters of Lake Tahoe, and unauthorized construction in the shore zone at 255 Drum Road in El Dorado County, California, assessor parcel number 016-300-062, TRPA project file number ERSP 2021-0568-01, and TRPA enforcement file number CODE 2023-0090. Information on this item can be found on page 107 of your packet. As a reminder to the public, after board discussion of this item, you may raise your hand in person to be called on or in Zoom to be unmuted by TRPA staff to share your comments. Steve.
All right, thank you. Once again, Steve Sweet, Code Compliance Program Manager, resolution of enforcement action with Nadir and Bridget Panah. This violation involves unauthorized tree removal, failure to implement and maintain temporary BMPs, which resulted in direct discharge to the waters of Lake Tahoe, and unauthorized construction in the shore zone. The violations occurred on the Panah property located at 255 Drum Road, El Dorado County. Here you can see the property is just located north of Meeks Bay. And go ahead and go to the next slide, please. And a close up of the property, and you can see the two areas of discharge that I'll be talking about, the area of tree removal in the upland area, and then the unauthorized work in the shore zone. There was also a tree removed in that area. Short description of the violation. In December 2023, TRPA staff conducted a routine inspection of the construction project on the Panah property. During this inspection, TRPA staff discovered that multiple large trees had been removed without TRPA approval, and discharges had occurred from two different areas of the property, and unauthorized construction of new stairs in the shore zone had occurred that were not approved plans. And so then after further investigation and discussions with the settling parties, TRPA staff determined that over 14 violations of the permit and code of ordinances had occurred on the Panah property, including the removal of three trees over 30 inches in a conservation area, material damage to trees, recontouring and grading in the conservation area, failure to maintain proper temporary BMPs, which resulted in the discharge from the site to both the roadway of Drum Road and the waters of Lake Tahoe. Also unauthorized construction of a walkway and steps in the shore zone, and removal of the shore zone vegetation used for scenic analysis, including one tree larger than 6 inches DBH. And I'm going to go through the picture. Is that the first one?
Mm-hmm.
So as these first two pictures are the area of the conservation. The conservation area, and you can see kind of there on the left photo how it was graded out flat and disturbed in that area. You can kind of also see it here in the picture on the right, and you can see some of the material damage. This was not the only place where trees were damaged. You can also see the tree in the back on the picture in the right. That was one of the large trees, the large cedar tree that was being removed. And so that is actually being left as a wildlife tree, and the other two were removed totally. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Was there a site plan before that?
Mhm.
Can you go back to the site plan?
Sure.
And then this is just the location of those three trees in the conservation area. And you can see that conservation area. Go ahead and go. And then this is just a photo showing the discharge from the upper section of the construction site. This is Drum Road, and this divides it divides the property in half, where the driveway kind of comes through the upper half. And you can see those two stumps up on the left are the other two trees that were removed from that conservation area. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Now we're looking down below Drum Road at the site, and you can see the temporary BMPs not really in place as well as they should be. You can see the erosion going down the side. Go ahead and go to the next. And then now you can see like this is where the discharge occurred right into the lake. This is right below the corner of the project site. And the soil was just going over the top of the BMPs, and you can see evidence of it going all the way down into the shore zone, into the lake. And then this is a photo of the steps that were built. There was a permitted section of those steps that was allowed, but it was out of the shore zone, and it didn't even connect the upper path to the steps. It was just about 5 steps. And so you can see they increased those steps all the way down into the shore zone. And then there was a lot of work done, as you can kind of see the flattening of the stones and kind of the unnatural look there down below in the shore zone are things that would not be a part of a normal revetment or, any kind of project like that. It would be looking more natural. Go ahead and next. And then this is a site plan that shows those few steps that were approved. It also shows the cedar that was removed and some of the other vegetation. There was some other shore zone vegetation that was removed at that time for this work.
Wasn't the cedar topped? It wasn't actually.
No, this is a cedar in the shore zone.
Oh, okay.
So the other cedar was a large 30-inch cedar up above in the conservation area.
Okay.
This was a 4th tree that needed to be reviewed. Anything over 6 inches between the home and the lake needs to be reviewed and approved.
So the tree in the previous slide, the tree that was removed in the conservation area, obviously the house is overlooking the lake, so it wasn't removed for scenic improvements, right?
No, those trees were not removed for scenic improvements. Nadir said that he removed those for safety of the house because they were above the house, and that he was responsible for any kind of safety issues on that property.
Okay, but they weren't, the danger wasn't imminent. Were the trees healthy or were they in fact diseased?
We did
Okay.
not review the trees at all, so
Okay.
there's just no way of telling that at this time. So in discussions with TRPA staff, the settling parties have disputed their responsibility for some of the alleged violations. TRPA staff, however, maintain that the settling parties are ultimately responsible as the owner and general contractor. Nadir is a owner builder, so he's kind of directing all this work, and that the violations are factually and legally supported. The settling parties have agreed to resolve the violations, including those in dispute, and elected to enter a settlement agreement where they will pay a penalty of over $55,000 to TRPA, obtain a permit for all revisions, and restore all disturbed areas on the property. And then plant native conifers in the conservation and the area in the shore zone where the tree was removed. Although the settlement agreement includes notations where TRPA staff and the settling parties may still disagree, the statements do not alter the legally binding nature of our agreement. Staff believes that this settlement agreement represents an appropriate response to these violations, and again, will help deter future violations of similar nature, and is recommending that the governing approve the proposed settlement agreement.
Okay, so the cedar that was topped in the conservation area, is that likely to, it might be a visual blight, but is it likely to survive?
It's dead.
Oh, it's dead.
Yeah, they cut the
Oh, I thought it was just topped.
any green off of it has been topped.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that won't survive. But
It says additionally, he will shall leave as is the, wait a minute. Shall
Yeah.
leave as is the greater than 30-inch DBA cedar tree that was topped, and the remaining trunk shall not be further removed. Okay, all right, so
one of the reasons why we review 30 dead, even trees that are dead that are over 30 inches are because sometimes they would be used as a wildlife tree. And in this case, this is a conservation area, so it's supposed to be protected and left natural. And so it might be a good place to leave some type of wildlife tree like that. It being topped is not going to be as good as it would have been, standing, but it will still create homes for wildlife and things like that if we leave that. So we'll have him work with the forester to determine that, at that time, but it was the forester's recommendation at this time that we just leave that
Okay.
top half tree. For
So I guess the question is the planting of the additional trees, is there a time frame by which that has to be completed? Sometime prior to the finalization of the permit? Is that it? In other words, the final inspection?
Yeah, it will be a part of their restoration plan. Yeah.
Okay, but there will be a specified timeline, okay. Let's see, so is Mr. Paha, he's a contractor, is he a contractor, does he do work in the basin? And if that's the case, shouldn't he be attending the tree removal seminar as well, like the previous gentleman?
I think he's the owner builder of this particular site, but I believe he's online, so he can answer.
Is he a
this
licensed
question.
contractor?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
all
just
right.
know he is sometimes we work with owner builders, that take their owner of the property. They also take responsibility
Right,
as the
right.
general contractor for the site,
Yeah,
and they hire their subs and.
so contractor implies something different. When I think of a contractor, I think of a licensed contractor as opposed to an owner builder.
So I would say owner builder.
Builder,
then.
okay, that's a better description. Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Sorry.
no problem.
There was no specified date for the planting of the tree.
It's in paragraph 5. He has to prepare a new scenic analysis and submit a scenic restoration plan, which will include the planting of 2 15 to 20 foot native conifers to replace the one removed without authorization. There is language about survival and replacement, but I was just curious what the time frame was for submitting the restoration plan.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we will just have to make sure that is within the plan and determine at that time.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be helpful for all parties
Yeah.
concerned. Okay. Any questions by members of the committee? Alex, Belinda? No, I'm seeing hands. No, okay, all right. So who do we have online representing Mr. Panaha?
Mr. Fisher, or Michael Hughes Fisher?
Yes, Muse Fisher. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you so much. Yes, we fully support and want to work collaboratively with the TRPA. I know with purposes of 3 of the 15, 20-foot trees that need to be planted, those have a 6-month time frame after the plan is approved. I believe for any others that have to be planted, I think that would be consistent with that would be okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments before the committee takes action on this settlement agreement, Mr. Fisher?
No, I just want to appreciate it. Your legal department was very helpful in working with us to get this through. Obviously, as Nadir would like to work and make sure that these issues are addressed so that his project can move forward and consistent with the TRPA policies, that we are here to work with you.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that. Steve does good work. All right, if there are no further comments by members of the committee, we will go to public comment on this item. If any member of the public wishes to address the committee on this agenda item, please raise your hand now, either in person or by clicking the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or by dialing *9 on your phone, and you will be called on and unmuted by a TRPA staff member. Catherine, anyone wishing to comment on this item?
There are no hands raised to comment.
Thank you. Then we will go ahead and close public comment. And I will entertain a motion to approve the settlement agreement as shown in attachment A.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Alex. All right, we have a motion. Catherine, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Valtinos,
Yes.
Ms. Williamson, Mr. Rice, Ms. Limer. Yes. Ms. Baldine.
Yes.
Madam Chair, the motion passes.
Okay, thank you. We are now on agenda item number 5. Thank you, Steve, for your good work, which is a closed session with counsel to discuss existing and potential litigation. I'll ask members of the public joining us. There is no one in the room, so no one has to exit. But we will be, let's see, going offline here temporarily. The main session will resume after the closed session is over. Remote committee members and staff, please wait to be moved into the breakout room. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Oh, so moved, yeah.
Yes, we have a motion. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're now coming out of closed session, moving on to agenda item number 6, potential direction regarding our closed session under agenda item number 5. John, any?
No direction.
No direction. All right. In that case, we will move on to the next agenda item, number 7, committee member comments. Alex, Belinda, any pearls of wisdom you'd like to share?
No.
Okay. Right. In that case, we will move on to our last public comment period. If any member of the public wishes to speak on this at this time, please raise your hand now, either in person by clicking the hand raise icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen or by dialing *9 on your phone, and you will be called on and unmuted by a TRPA staff member. Anyone wishing to comment on this item?
There are no hands raised to
Okay,
comment.
thank you. Then we will go ahead and close public comment, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, so moved.
All right, we have a motion to
Second,
adjourn.
second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries, and the Transportation Committee meeting and subsequent meetings will take place in the main boardroom and on the main webinar posted at www.trpa.gov in what, 3 minutes, 2 minutes? 9:30? Okay,
Short,
Short,
very short.
Thanks, everyone.